Pawn Wars is the third minigame after Bishops and Rooks and Knight Battleship. So the pawns, they move forward one square at a time, and they capture diagonally. And using these moves, whoever gets a pawn to the other side first wins. You can also add a knight to make things more exciting, or both knights rather. And same thing, whoever gets a piece to the opposite side of the board first wins. So this is much faster paced, but you can just start out, especially maybe with a kid or someone who hasn't seen a pawn move before, just go one square at a time forward and capture diagonally. All right, so let's suppose white goes first, black goes first, then white goes, and black goes, and white goes, and black goes. All right, so in this situation, these two pawns cannot move forward into each other. So this black pawn has zero options. It can't move. This pawn is stuck. You can't go forward to capture. You have to capture diagonally, but there's nothing to capture diagonally, so I can't move. When it's white's turn, again, we can't go forward, but capturing diagonally is possible, right? We can capture this black pawn. So that would be an option here. This black pawn might have two squares to move to. It can go one square forward because it's empty, or it can capture diagonally here. So you can just start out with these rules, but then once you're comfortable with that, or right away maybe you've already played chess or something, you know that the pawns actually have a couple other rules associated with them. So pawns can jump two squares forward from their starting position if they want. So you have the option to move one square forward like normal, or you can jump two squares forward at the beginning. You can't jump over anything, so if there's a pawn here, this e-pawn is stuck. We can't jump over, and we can't capture. But in the old days, pawns could only move one square forward at a time, and the rules of chess have evolved to become a little faster with this double jump. Now, what happens is, in the old days, for example, this h-pawn, if it wants to go forward from the starting square, black would have the opportunity to capture, right? But with the double jump, suppose we jump two, that opportunity to capture is no longer there. This creates some weird situations in various types of endgames in normal chess. So there's this rule called en passant, which allows black to actually go ahead and capture. So as soon as white goes h2 to h4, if black has a pawn on g4, they can go here and take that pawn off the board, capturing en passant. You can only do this on the turn immediately after the opponent has made their double jump. So let me show that again. For example, if white has a pawn here, and black is trying to jump to d5, white can capture en passant. Okay? So the other rule about pawns is once they do get to the other side, so let's pretend that it's black's turn. Let me go here. White maybe will just go ahead here, and black goes here, and then white goes here and wins. Now, in a normal game of chess, it wouldn't be over, right? You're trying to checkmate the king, so we'll talk more about that in the next video. But in a normal game of chess, when a pawn reaches the other side, it gets to promote. So you can replace that pawn with a queen, regardless of how many are already on the board. It can become a rook, or a bishop, or a knight. Any piece that you like, but not a king and not another pawn. So pawns promote as soon as they reach the other side, so you make your turn. Suppose black was just about to promote, so black moves the pawn and then replaces it with another piece, and then your turn's over. Maybe that's a check, it doesn't matter. As soon as you move the pawn, and maybe you're capturing, right? So like maybe there's a piece here and black has a pawn and we capture, boop, and then we promote to one of those pieces. So Pawn Wars is great. Once you get a feel for it, we're ready to move on to kind of getting ready to play normal chess with some basic checkmates and progressive chess as a mini game.